Hello again, it's your old pal Bob Potter, and I want to do three things in this video today. Number one is express my thanks and gratitude and frankly surprise at the number of people who are watching some of this stuff. Secondly, to give myself a little more practice in doing it. And third, to lay the background for the next car video that I will be getting to at some point. Now, as for the thank yous, a buddy of mine suggested that I put up the video of that Bob's New Toy, it's called, of my latest car acquisition. And I thought, oh, well, okay, I can try that. Not knowing anything about YouTube, I thought maybe get a dozen viewers or something like that. And I put on other things that I have done. And I'm astonished to see that there are over 100,000 people who have seen the delivery truck fire that occurred at our building here several months ago. I never expected to see anything like that at all. I also was astonished to see that there are about 300 folks who have subscribed to this. And how many have seen the car video? I think it's, in the neighborhood of 150 to 200, something like that. Anyway, now I know that by YouTube standards, that's minuscule. It's really penny ante. But to me, I'm just shocked, amazed, surprised, pleased, and I want to thank you for your attention to that stuff. I'm just blown away. I mean, really, YouTube is, for an old guy, it's pretty impressive. It's really like the average Joe. Let's face it, the less than average Joe can have a television station in his own building, in his own room. As for practicing with this stuff, I actually worked for much of my working life in radio, primarily as an announcer, and I did learn to edit audio tape reasonably well, quarter-inch audio tape with a splicing block and a razor and splicing tape and that sort of thing. I wasn't the fastest at it or the most subtle at it by any means, but I was competent at it at least, and so I do know how to edit audio tape, but this digital stuff, it's a horse of a totally different color. So I went through and looked at reviews of software, video editing software, and they said this particular thing, I can't even remember the name of it right now, was good for beginners. It says that'd be easy as falling off a log. Yeah, maybe so if you're a teenager or in your 20s or in your 30s, but when you get to be a geezer, it's not so easy. You can watch the how-to videos and all that, but it just doesn't quite come out the same. And I have to say, I have a hell of a time editing this stuff. So this is going to give me some useful practice. I wonder how many people my age, and I'll say that I am on the sunny side of 80. I won't say by how much, but I am. I wonder how many people this age are doing this kind of thing. My guess is it isn't a hell of a lot. Okay, so more practice doing this. And the third thing is to lay the background for this next car video that I'm going to do. If you saw Bob the Car Guy number 2, you saw me gas on at great length about this Audi that I was absolutely in love with. And you would wonder, why in the world would I get rid of that car and get something different? Well, there was a very practical reason and kind of frankly an unfortunate reason. My darling wife, Linda, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2014, but that didn't stop us from having a pretty good time. We had a motorhome, we used that. We had a boat, we used that. We took some cruise ship trips, car trips, that sort of thing. And that big Audi was just fantastic for the car trips. But then in 2020, unfortunately, she suffered a stroke and became wheelchair bound. And I figured that if we were going to be able to go anywhere, even, just on jaunts around town, running errands and stuff, we'd have to have a wheelchair van of some kind. So I put on my big boy pants and said, I'm going to trade in that Audi on a wheelchair conversion van, which I did. And I said to myself, I've had a lot of great cars over the years. I think in one of my videos I described, I think I've had a couple dozen of them. And I said, but you know what? I am on the sunny side of 80, and I'm not dead yet. Now, I can't see very well, and I can't hear very well, but thank God I can still drive, and I still have my Florida driver's license. And I'd be willing to bet that a lot of the people in this state are in about the same boat as I am. So by golly, I am going to get myself another sort of a fun car to add to that wheelchair van, which was good for it did a good job, but God, was it a bore to drive. I mean, it was just a bore. And so there's kind of a preview of what led us to this next car, which you're going to see coming up here before too long. Now, this is not a spectacular, exotic car by any means. It's pretty much run of the mill, but I think it's a lot of fun, and it's an interesting car, and I will be telling you about that at some point. Meanwhile, I will say once again, thank you so much for paying attention to this stuff, for listening to it, for subscribing to it. Although there's a little question at the back of my mind that asks, seriously, don't you have anything better to do with your time than watch this crap? But thanks anyway. I really appreciate it. See ya.